Welcome to State of Tech. My name's Jared, and today we're going to unbox and set up our iPhone 7. Now, this video is coming a little bit later than I had hoped because I was unable to get a pre-order on the 16th, and so here we are a few days later. So I did happen to come across an available 256 iPhone 7. So a little bit more memory than our storage than I really wanted initially, but that's okay. I really wanted the black iPhone. And after having spent a little bit of time with the 7 Plus, I decided the additional things in the 7 Plus just aren't for me yet, and we'll see what Apple has when they release the software update that's going to unlock some additional features in the camera. So we're going to unbox this and then we'll do our initial setup. So Apple has changed the plastic, the way that the plastic is on the box. It kind of opens up, and I have young kids at home, so my mind automatically goes to a diaper. Like, it opens up almost like a diaper, but it's not, obviously. It's just a parenting thing. And then the box slides off nicely. We've got our information here. We'll just put that right back in the box. We've got our phone. We've got our, typical charging adapter. Nothing's really changed there in several years. We've got our headphones and our lightning adapter on the back here. So this little adapter is something that's going to be pretty useful for most people. What's cool, and I saw this article about this, is that there's actually a miniature digital to audio converter inside this little adapter, which then takes the digital connection, because now, instead of the DAC being inside of the phone, it's got to be in this. So there's a little digital audio converter here, and then that comes out to your 1/8 inch, 3.5 millimeter, or whatever you want to call it, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Obviously, adapters are going to play a big part in our lives for a few years as we transition to Bluetooth stuff. And then we have our wired headphones here that have the adapter for lightning right into them. We have our cord, typical stuff inside of a iPhone box. We'll go ahead and set that off. So the phone is very nice. I mean, it's just a beautiful device. Apple always has very nice devices. The plastic, we'll go ahead and pull that off here. Very nice indeed. Flip that back over and put it aside, and then we'll power up our device. So I'm coming from an iPhone SE, which is not too much smaller than the iPhone 7. So I've really liked being on a smaller phone, but there's been some issues that I've had with the iPhone SE. So I'm looking forward to going to the iPhone 7 with its slightly larger screen, and I think the touch will be a lot better on the iPhone 7 than it is on the iPhone SE. All right, so we've got our phone powered on. Let's go ahead and select our language and our country. And then we need to choose a Wi-Fi network. So we'll go ahead and choose a Wi-Fi network to activate our phone. Join that network. Now, if your phone was activated from, wherever it came from, AT&T, Best Buy, Verizon, wherever, if your phone's already been activated, you should see the LTE on there. One of the things that is an issue with the iPhones is that if you don't have a SIM card in it, it has a hard time activating. So you typically have to have an active SIM card in the phone to set it up. So that's what it's doing right now. It's going through the activation process, and that may take a second. So now that it's activated, we're going to go ahead and enable location services and set up Touch ID. So I'll hit continue and begin placing my finger on the home button, adjust my grip, and complete. Now I need to create a passcode. Now you have the option to restore from an iCloud backup or set the phone up as new, or restore from an iTunes backup as well. There's also a move data from Android option, so if you are coming over from Android, there's an option for that. You'll just follow the prompts. Now, if you're restoring from an iCloud backup, it's going to require you log in to your iTunes or your Apple ID account. If you are restoring from an iTunes backup, you will be plugging into your computer and restoring from an iCloud backup, an iTunes backup. Now, with this process, we did a video last week on preparing to upgrade to iOS 10. And so if you're unsure as to whether or not you have the appropriate backup, whether it be iCloud or iTunes, check out that video first. Make sure that you back up the existing phone that you have before you go and do this. Or just to give you a look at what you would do here, you would go into, on your existing phone, go into Settings, scroll down to iCloud, scroll down to Backup, and then tap Backup Now. And you need to be connected to a Wi-Fi network in order for this to work, in order for the backup to process. So make sure that you have the most current backup. I would even say that if your backup was as old as yesterday, you're going to miss out maybe on some recent text messages or phone call history or stuff like that, and you may want to run a fresh backup. So always do that. I'll make sure to link in the description below to the video, and there's also a card for you to click on so that you can see that video on backing up, whether it be iTunes or iCloud. So here's the screen where you would enter in your iCloud sign-in. That's your Apple ID, your iTunes login, anything that you would use to log into an Apple device is basically your iCloud sign-in. So enter that information here. Accept the terms and conditions. And it will take a few minutes for your Apple ID to set up on the phone. Now it calls it an Apple ID, even though a couple seconds ago it called it an iCloud ID. That's why I mentioned that, because Apple gets a little confused at what they call that login. So you can see the different backups that we have available if you're going the iCloud option. If you're going the iTunes option, then in iTunes you'll actually see the available backups that you have. So we have one from today at 10:44, and then we also have previous devices and some older other backups from other devices that I have attached to this account. So we'll go ahead and select this one. It's going to require a software update, and so I'm going to need to download and update that software first, because if a software update has came between backing up the device that you currently have and the new device, you have to make sure that they are running the same software, and so Apple will have you run a software update really quick. So let's go ahead and do that. So once you get through that process, it's going to say restore from iCloud, and this could take a little bit of time depending on how much data it's going to have to copy over from iCloud. So we'll go ahead and let this process take place, and we'll be back in a second. So now you'll want to approve iCloud Keychain. What this allows you to do is sync passwords and stuff between your devices. I'll tap on approve from another device, and I can approve from my Mac. I can also approve from another phone, such as this phone, by tapping yes. And so we'll go ahead and approve that. Now it's going to ask me about the new home button. Meet the new home button, make this experience even more personal. So we'll go ahead and tap on get started. We'll just go ahead and select from one of those options, tap on get started, and then the process of restoring your apps and media is going to begin. Alright, so now your new iPhone is set up and ready to go. As I said, if you're restoring, it's going to download all those apps again, and then there may even be a few software updates on some of those apps to run after you're done. So plan on plugging in your phone for a little bit, and your phone may get a little warm during this process. Keep in mind it is downloading a lot of data, updating a lot of things, so a lot of stuff is going on in the background, which even may make your phone run a little bit slow initially. So once the process is complete, it will give you a notification if there are any apps that it can't back up or it can't restore because they're not compatible with iOS 10. You'll get a notification about that. It should take a little bit of time, and then all of your apps will be restored and you'll be ready to go. So that's going to do it for this video on the iPhone 7 first look and initial setup. The process can be kind of tedious getting a new phone set up, but with iCloud or iTunes backup, it definitely makes the process go a lot faster from moving from one phone to the next. Now, if you want to be notified when we release new videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for checking out State of Tech, and we hope to see you next time.